post-edit Zenobia, guys. So this will be part one of a two-part episode, so make sure you subscribe to the podcast feed. Mike he's just a cool dude, and we're both like Eastern Baltimore, like paranormal, like rockstar dudes. Like we clicked, and I just kept recording. So I got 2 episodes out of him easily. So this is part one. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast feed so you get part 2. It'll be out next Thursday. Without further bullshit from me, here is part 1 of my 2-hour coffee break with Mike from Charm City Paranormal. It's me, Zenobia Darling. You're listening to #RockstarLife, the Coffee Break podcast. Let's go. Where the hell's my cold brew at? All right, what's up, guys? I'm here. Where are we at? Eastern Baltimore, something like that. I'm here with Mike from Charm City Paranormal. I'm not going to say your last name just to keep it kosher. So what's up? How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Yeah. How do you like the UFO? I'm Zenobia Darling right now.
It's fantastic.
Sweet. So I'm super excited to have you on because you're a ghost hunter. I watched all your videos.
And
hold on real quick. Okay, so what got into your YouTube journey? So, sorry, we're having technical issues, so bear with us.
Initially, I was doing photography. My business shut down when COVID hit, and I had a lot of free time on my hands.
I knew you were a photographer. I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell.
That's where I got my start originally. Yeah. And I got into urban exploration. There's a handful of abandoned places here in Maryland to explore. And,
which we will get into.
Yeah, and in the process of trying to get into urban exploration, I had a crazy experience at a place called Forest Haven
in Laurel, Maryland, 10 minutes from my sister's house.
Yeah, and I had a GoPro attached to me that whole day. So when that experience happened, I went home and I immediately started watching the footage and started hearing voices. I caught stuff on camera, like physical anomalies, and it immediately hooked me. And I was fascinated by it, and I wanted to do more. So I started.
Do you come from a like paranormal like family? Because like my family, I mean, my stepmom's into psychics and fairies, and my mom's into paranormal investigating. So
yes, but I didn't know that for several years that I was doing.
Oh, so they kept it hidden,
more or less. Yeah. So my aunt is a psychic, and she's been helping teams for over 30 years. And I found this out like 2 years after I became an investigator.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I had this really strange dream and this strong urge to go see her one day. And she lives all the way in North Carolina, mind you. So it's like a 6.5-hour drive to go down. I just packed a bag of clothes and I drove straight to her house. And I told her what I was doing. And then we ended up having like a 10-hour conversation about her being a medium, what paranormal investigating is like, just all of these things. So yes, some of them are, some of them aren't. Everybody believes. Yeah. Everybody in my family believes. Like all immediate family, cousins, aunts, uncles, everybody believes in it. We don't talk about it. But I didn't know any of this until like years after I became an investigator. It was
really?
Crazy. Yeah. It was like a very pleasant surprise because I thought I was the only one that was interested in it.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to be alone in it because my brother's a musician. My dad is a painter. My mom's a cosmetologist. Everybody has their own little world.
I knew you had, like, I can tell by the way your YouTube videos are shot. I'm like, he's an artist. I'm like, there's an artistic quality to it. Like, I knew it. That's funny that you say it's a cosmetologist, artist, musician. I'm like, so you come from a creative family.
Yeah, everybody is creative in some sense. My sister used to do choreography, so like everybody does art in some form. And initially I started out with photography and eventually just moved into videos.
Excellent. Yeah. So like what made you like start popping off on YouTube? Because what's up?
I don't know. I just keep feeling something like touch the back of my legs.
That's what I'm like. And it's weird because like the soundboard, like that's never happened. That's why I was like, what the fuck's happening here? Yeah. It's everything's still recorded. I mean, we're just going to leave this in.
That's fine.
Because I always shoot it like, I'm almost like, it's a reality show. I'm like, whatever, you get the hot messness. But we do have a ghost with us. We actually just investigated. We did a little mini investigation of, we're not going to say the building because they don't like that. But we're at work. I'll just say that. I'm at my work. The haunted dolls were coming through. We had a lot of good stuff come through.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there was a couple of instances where you had something personal come through.
Oh yeah, Joe keeps coming back. He keeps being a mess.
Yep. 2 instances, and you had 2 separate people.
Yeah, because you did the Estes, and then Nicole did it. Nicole's actually, that was her 3rd time, I think, doing an Estes method.
Really?
So
she did great.
Yeah, she's coming out of her broom closet, I will say.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
So like getting back to the YouTube channel, like what started, like, was there like an in particular video that made it like start popping off? Because like it's a pretty popular channel. Like I noticed that like you get views, you get content, like, and I think you also put in the work to it to make it like a quality thing. Because there's a lot of stuff on there that I'm like, this is garbage. I'm like shot on an iPhone. I'm like, yeah, okay.
A lot of my inspiration comes from cinematography.
Yeah,
I'm really inspired by the way that they shoot their videos, very slow, cinematic, kind of tension building scenes.
Yeah. And ooh, I get that. What are your favorite movies?
One of my favorite movies of all time, it's not even a horror movie, it's Blow
No, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I'm really inspired by a lot of I completely forgot his name. Clockwork Orange.
Oh, yeah. Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah, Stanley Kubrick.
I can pick up on that vibe.
Yeah. I get a lot of inspiration from him, and just the way that he shoots his movies, the very slow. I just heard
I know, that's the thing. Like, yes.
I just heard somebody whisper something while I was talking. Anyways, I like the way that he has like a very slow, methodical way of shooting all of his scenes. And he's also very particular. Like I know he had to do that one scene in The Shining over 100 times.
Yeah.
And the one actress lost her mind in the process of shooting that one scene because it just wasn't shot right. I'm very much the same way. Just very methodical.
Well, that's the art coming out of you.
Yeah. I get it. It has to look good. I want it to look good. And we have such a limited amount of time when we go do these shoots. We only get the night to do it.
Yeah.
So you have 8, maybe 9 hours to get this right. And that's a shitload of pressure. From walking into the building to walking out, you have 8 hours to set up all of the equipment, figure out where your shots are going to be, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it. And there's this much room for error. Like none. There's no room for error. So you have
you're also shooting it. It has a reality show vibe to it, which is all my jam. And like, I like it when the film, like the art of filmmaking and reality shows combined. So that's, and like yours has that. Cause it's like, I don't know. I want to talk about some of the locations, because for one thing, we have Forest Haven. So I haven't talked about it yet. I don't know. I have, maybe I have, but with you, we came across your video. I kind of always known because like who you were and like your videos, but when we were going into the paranormal realm, I wanted to feature Forest Haven because I'm like, Maryland has a haunted asylum. Like it's right there. It's like not as famous as Penhurst or Trans-Allegheny. And wanted
it's 10 times more haunted than Penhurst.
Yes.
Like beyond haunted.
Yes. And we got photography from someone that Urban X there. And we actually, there's spirits in the video. I actually have the things right there. And I wanted to do the graffiti in it. And so we started watching your videos. And then I was like, Nicole, let's invite him to the show. So I think it's ironic that like somehow this haunted asylum is somehow manifesting. Like it seems to be the connector to like a lot of people with this art show.
Yeah.
So tell me your story about Forest Haven. Like the first time you went there, like I know you had something follow you home there.
Oh, yeah.
And like when we were showing you the videos when you came to visit the Arctic, you were like, oh, that's that building. That's that place.
Oh, I know that place like the back of my hand. I've been there so many times over the years. So the first time I actually went there wasn't to do anything other than to explore it with a group of friends. This was back in 2018, 2019. Yeah. I got a text from a friend at like 11 o'clock at night. And he's like, hey, a group of my friends and I, we're going to go to this place called Forest Haven Asylum. I don't know if you're interested. If you'd like to tag along, you're more than welcome to come with us. I was like, hell yeah, let's go. And when we went, I had no like paranormal experiences prior to this. I wasn't thinking about ghosts or the paranormal. That was the last thing on my mind. I was more worried about homeless people and getting attacked by strangers. Like, that was my biggest fear. So we went in a group of like 5 or 6 of us. And for the first 2 hours that we're there, we're just exploring. We're going through the buildings. Not a whole lot's going on. We get into one of these cottages and we get up to the top floor and we're going into one of the day rooms. And when you walk down the hall into the day room, there's 2 doors off to the side of that room. And one leads off into like a bathroom area and one leads off into, I guess, like a cubby closet kind of area. all my friends were standing in the center of the day room, and they saw a pair of really old Nikes in the middle of the room, and they started making jokes about
Well, there's
it.
a lot of shoes there.
Right. They were making a bunch of jokes about the shoes. So like I let them do their thing. I stepped off into the cubby room and I closed the door behind me. And I'm just standing there kind of looking around because this is the first time I've ever done anything like this. And I'm taking it all in. And in the process of looking around, I feel like it felt like little fingers come up and grab half of my hand.
Oh, wow.
My hands were off to the side, and it felt like a little kid coming up to grab my hand and lead me off to somewhere.
Yeah.
And I remember I pulled my hand up, and my first thought was bug. But then immediately after I thought, well, it's like 32, 33 degrees outside right now. That's impossible. So I turn around, the door's still shut. I open the door. All my friends are still standing in the room. And I'm like, did one of you open the door and like poke me or something, trying to mess with me and scare me? And their demeanor instantly changed. They all looked at me and they're very serious. They go, no, nobody touched you. I'm like, come on. If one of you guys are messing with me, just tell me. Because somebody just grabbed my hand while I was in there. And they all looked at each other and then looked at me and was like, we have not left this room. So immediately I'm like, shit. Okay.
You had something paranormal happen.
Right. But I didn't.
Oh my God.
But I didn't think of anything at the time. Like I just brushed it off. I was like, okay, whatever. I'm not going to think too much into this. I'm not trying to freak myself out. Let's go over to the next building. These cottages are on the east side of the admin building. So they're right next to it and they're identical. We walk downstairs from the first one, go outside to the second one, and I see that a basement door is open. And the closer you get to it, you can hear running water. One of the pipes in there is busted. And for some reason, Maryland has not shut off the water there. The water is still going to this day. The building...
What?
The place closed down in 1991.
That's such a waste of water.
It's 2024. At the time of this, when we did this, it was 2019. So you're looking at like over 20 years of just running water. And it's a busted pipe, so it's just leaking out onto the ground.
Yeah.
So I go up to this basement and I'm like, who's going in with me? And none of my friends wanted to do it except for one. And he's like, I'll go with you. I'm like, all right, let's go. So the door is pried open and it's like halfway bent up. We duck under the door. I walk down 3 or 4 steps. The whole floor is flooded with water. It's like 4 or 5 inches of really dirty brown water on the floor. And there's a door on the floor in front of the threshold that leads into that main hallway of the basement. So it was like a lily pad almost. I could step on it, kind of lean in and look down the hallway. When I did that, I heard a woman clear as day go, I don't think you should do that. Like it was right in my ear. It sounded like there was another person in the room with us. She went, I don't think you should do that. And I turned around and looked at my friend and I went, what? He goes, I didn't say anything.
Did he hear it?
No. And I immediately, I was just like, go. And we ran out.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, what happened? I'm like, I just heard somebody down there at 3 o'clock in the morning in a flooded basement. We're leaving. We're not coming back here.
Yeah.
And we left. And I didn't go back there for almost 2 years. And then eventually when I got into the Urbex thing, I went back and I started taking pictures and it was during the day. And this trip was when I had the life-changing experience of like, okay, I want to do this. I want to learn more about this. We're there all day. It's like Tuesday, mid-afternoon. It's just my friend and I. We're taking pictures. We're exploring. Curly Building is the first building that you see when you get on the property.
Because you have to sneak on and then you walk through the woods, right? Yep. And then the Curly Building's the first one?
Yep.
Okay.
And every time we went there, we would always skip that building. Yeah. We'd go to admin, we'd go to the cottages, we'd go to the jail, but we always skipped Curly for whatever reason.
There's a jail there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That was the last
know that.
Sidebar, but that was the last building to close on the property. So in the mid to late 80s, somebody else bought the jail and bought the building and turned it into a jail. When Forest Haven closed in 91, that building stayed open until 96. It was like a low security jail. And there's still razor wire around it and cells and shit. It's weird.
Wow.
But as we're leaving at the end of the day, we're walking by Curly and I look at it and I'm like, why don't we go in there? We've never been in there. We've been here 4 or 5 times now. We've never been in here. Let's go. So I climbed through one of the openings. It's where a window used to be. It's these huge like sky windows almost or just day room windows, but they're gone. It's just the frame now. So we step in. I walked through 2 thresholds and I'm getting ready to walk through the 3rd to go into the main opening of this hallway that leads into like patient rooms and all this stuff. And as I'm stepping through, I hear the only way that I can describe it, it sounded like a groan, a scream, a growl, and it had different pitches. It was different intonations of pitches.
Whoa.
So it was like a high, mid, and low. For anybody listening, if you've ever seen Evil Dead and the woman who talks, think of that voice.
Oh, wow. Ooh.
Yeah, it's like...
Oh, that's a reference.
I heard that, and people talk about fight or flight, but they often skip over the freeze part.
Yeah, I've been there, done that, yeah.
That's the first time I've ever experienced that in my life. I completely locked up, and my brain was like telling my body, turn around and run, turn around and run, and I couldn't turn my body physically to run. It took everything in me to turn, and I just started running, and my friend goes, "What are we running from?" And I didn't even tell him. I just ran. It was one of those situations where it's like, I only have to run faster than you to get away from whatever's about to come after us. I'm gone. Yeah. So I ran. We got out onto the road, and he's like, "What happened?" And I couldn't tell him. I couldn't explain it. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain what I just heard.
Yeah.
10 minutes goes by, and we're trying to collect ourselves, and I'm like, I have to go see if somebody was messing with us, because I think it was just somebody, like, I don't know. The first thought that I had was Aztec death whistle or something. Like somebody was screwing with us. So we go back in, and go through the same threshold. It had just rained the night before, and obviously it's an old rotten building, so puddles...
With, like, no roof.
Yeah, so puddles, like, form in the hallways and the rooms and stuff, and there was a huge puddle in the middle of the hallway. And from that puddle, leading about 15 feet up to where I was, there are bare feet footprints. Like, you can see the shape of the heel and the sole and the toes. Leading up to where we were, they were, like, 3 steps away from actually making it to the threshold. Because the door that I was going through, the door was closed over. You had to push it open. So I couldn't see what was in there. Yeah. So when I pushed it open, I saw those footsteps, and they were like 3 steps away from us. They stop. They don't go back. They don't go left or right. They stop. They stopped.
And that was it. That was the moment where you're like, I'm doing this.
Yeah, I looked down, and I'm like, I'm looking at these footprints, and I have it all on video, too. Yeah. I have photos and video.
You showed me the pictures.
Yeah, yeah.
Send me one of the photos. I'll make it the cover of this episode.
Absolutely. And I saw those footprints, and I'm looking at it, and I look at my friend. I'm like, Colin, those are bare feet. Yeah. Those aren't shoes.
And you're not barefoot in these places. There's broken glass everywhere, rotten nails, dirty water. Like, wear hiking boots, like combat boots.
Yeah, there's no way. It doesn't matter if you're homeless. I don't care what kind of drugs somebody is on. You cannot walk through there barefoot. You will slice your feet into a million pieces. There would have been blood everywhere if somebody really was barefoot. And it was just like 6 or 7 foot. Not only that, but 2 of the footprints were left feet. Like, it was the left curve of a left foot twice. So it was steps that were leading up to us, but halfway through those steps, 2 of those steps were 2 left feet. And I
you can't even explain that.
I don't know either. And the weirdest part about it is, I'm a tall dude. I wear size 12 shoes. Yeah. I put my foot up next to that. It was like a size 15. Easily. Wow. Like, it was bigger than my foot. And wider than my foot, too. And I still to this day don't know.
What do you think it was?
I don't know.
Something? That's crazy.
I don't know. I really don't. And I haven't experienced anything like that since. Whatever was there that did that still hasn't shown up since. I haven't heard from it. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen footprints anywhere. It was like a one and done situation.
Yeah. But I always find because I've had an experience like that. I know most of my paranormal investigator friends have had experience. There's one moment where you have it comes through, and you're like, what the fuck? And then you get into it. So I think that, I don't know, that's pretty interesting. And it's almost like, I almost wonder if there's some type of like, I don't know, like divine stuff happening where it's like, no, you need to have this moment right now. Yeah. And that's why they don't come up again. Because sometimes I'm like, I know with my experience, like, I almost think it was one of my ancestor spirits. You see where my ancestor spirits are very active, but like, I feel like they were doing it just to be like, hey, like, you need to get into this. Let's have the experience. And you're like, whoa.
Yeah, so, it's hard to ignore it. I mean,
but it's interesting it hasn't come back since, because you've been there multiple times since.
Oh God, like 50 times at least. Yeah. We filmed an entire series there, stretching over like 6 months. We were going there every weekend for 6 months, and not even close to an experience like that since.
Yeah. You had other experiences in there, right?
Oh God, yeah.
Because you had something follow you home. Like that's oof. Yeah. What do you think is there like darker entities there or anything? Or I know it's like probably mentally ill people and abused people, but
I think so. I've had a couple of medium friends go and not necessarily investigate the property, but they've been on the property, like on the tree line, and they swear to me that there's some kind of manifestation there of just pent up, frustrated energy.
Well, it makes sense.
60 years of extreme abuse.
Yeah.
It's one of, I mean, this place had one of the highest mortality rates in all of the asylums in America throughout all of history. It was a 1 in 3 mortality rate. Meaning for every 3 people that went in there, 1 of them never left.
Yeah.
And there are so many horror stories of things that have happened to patients getting beat with bats and antennas and switches and being tied to beds and strapped down to toilets. Like, just terrible things have happened to these people. So,
and if you want like a good example, like Gerardo Rivera went into Letchworth and another one in Staten Island, and you actually see how these people were treated. Yeah. Because I know Letchworth, I've been to Letchworth, and that building is insane. But when you actually watch it and you're like, wait a minute, these people were like tortured. Like, it's disgusting. So
yeah, it's really unfortunate. And I think that a lot of that frustrated, pent up energy from those people, it doesn't matter what physical state that they're in, you know, as far as like intellectual or physical disabilities, the soul is still pure, and the soul can still express itself, whether it's anger, sadness, frustration, happiness, whatever it may be, it will express it in its truest form. And when you have hundreds of people that are being treated less than animals for decades, that energy is going to collect and build.
It's going to be crazy.
It's a dark place. If anybody listening to this decides to go, tread very carefully. Don't go in there disrespecting and breaking shit and tagging the walls and cussing them out, because you will get far more than what you bargained for. Yeah. You get what you give with this stuff.
Yeah. And don't, if you go in there to do graffiti, actually do artistic graffiti, like not the shit that I've seen in there. Like, I was watching some of it. Like, there was a few good things. Other ones, it's like penis, like
that's most
dick.
Of it,
and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, you literally broke into a building, get free range, a free like canvas of a wall. Do your good stuff there.
Yeah.
Like, it'll appease the spirits.
You spent money on a can of paint to draw a penis on the wall. Like, do a little better.
There was some cool alien shit and UFO stuff, because that's the stuff I used from in the alien wall. Because there was one where you were in one of the rooms, and I like took a screenshot and I was like, I need to do that. So that's what turned into the wall out there.
Yeah, most of the good artwork, it's covered up by bad artwork there, unfortunately.
Covered up by penises. Oof.
Yeah.
So if someone were to go there, like, it's not legal to go there. It's trespassing, right?
No, and I don't condone it.
Okay.
I'm not condoning it here. I'm just saying, if you go, be careful. Yeah. But I'm not going to tell you how to get there, and I'm not going to condone it either, because we don't do illegal things around here.
Yes, we don't. We don't. Well, we're in outer space, so whatever.
Yeah, it's okay.
So, like, the Forest Haven videos, like, you're probably the only investigator that has actually published your investigation there. I know other people that have been there that investigated, but you're the only one, because it was the only video we could find on this place. Yeah. Like, because I know Ashley, who did the photography, she's like, she had an experience there that she'll never go back. And she actually got out of Urban X Exploring, because there's a lot, pictures were the last photos she did in that series.
I believe it.
Because she was like, something followed us home. I had a dream about the shoes. It's always the shoes. I think it's interesting with your bare feet, like, story, because it's like, once again, that stuff happens. And she was like trapped there.
Yeah. But, I know that recently a couple of other teams have been there and investigated it. Very, very recent. Yeah. I know Sam and Colby went there like 5 or 6 years ago. But as far as like in-depth exploration and investigation with like documents to back up the evidence that we're finding.
Because you're a researcher. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. I think that is the most important aspect of doing this. Like, don't go and get evidence and then correlate it to something that you don't have. Yeah. You don't have facts to back it up. And we have like actual documentation from the hospital that proves that these people did exist. This was their age. This is where they died. And it is definitely, that is my favorite investigation. It is also the most in-depth investigation that we've ever done. And it's probably the most in-depth investigation you'll ever see on the place. Yeah. Because we have information from other sources, either people that have worked there or know people that work there, that got us documentation that you otherwise can't get. Like, you can't find this stuff online.
Yeah, because DC government still... We were doing... Me and Nicole at work were trying... Because we want to find a way to legally get in there, and trying to do it a backward way of like, let's use the graffiti art and let's use something like that. So DC government still owns it. Yep. So, which is, I still can't figure out that out. It's right next to the NSA building. So we're kind of like, well,
spitting distance, actually. Yeah. Like, you can see the NSA from Forest Haven.
You can see it in the background of your aerial shots. I was like, because I was showing my mom it, And I'm like, that's the Sam's Club that we always go shopping at, like right there. So
Yeah.
it's amazing.
All right, ad break. I gotta pay for all this damn coffee I'm drinking and tea I'm spilling.
What's up, art lovers? It's me, Zenobia Darling. Did you know I'm more than just a drag rock star? I'm also a very accomplished painter photographer, and you can check it all out on ZenobiaDarlingCreative.com. Sponsored by the Harford County Cultural Arts Board, my blog, #RockstarLife, the arts blog. It explores all my creativity right when it crashes into local culture. Explore my neo-expressionistic fine art, my editorialized goth photography, and this is the best part, you can buy my original paintings and you can spruce up your boring-ass walls, because every wall needs some glittering Zenobia Darling on them. So go check out Zenobia Darling Creative. The link is in the episode description. Ooh, what's up, Glamazons? It's Zenobia Darling. And you know my rockstarness doesn't just happen, right? It's crafted to perfection at Odyssey Salon and Day Spa in Aberdeen. Let me spill my secret. Abby, my badass stylist, is the mastermind behind my iconic glittering blonde mohawk. Whether you want to spike it up, smooth it out, dye it a killer shade, or just add that extra edge to your hair, the crew at Odyssey have the magic to make you feel like the superstar you truly are. And it's not just about hair. They keep my nails sharp, my skin polished, and every visit is an absolute blast. And here's the best part, my darlings. Odyssey isn't just about looking fierce. It is a safe space where us LGBT folks can feel right at home, shining as our truest selves. So if you're ready to live your own #rockstar life and embrace your creative spirit, get yourself to Odyssey Salon and Day Spa in Aberdeen. Tell them Zenobia sent you and show the world how fabulous us rock stars look. And you never know, you might run into yours truly. The link to book your visit to unlock your fabulosity is in the episode description. Hey there, ghost-loving rebels. It's Zenobia Darling, your paranormal punk rock queen. We premiered my newest art film, Ethereal Anarchy, Zenobia Darling's Haunted Revolution, on November 1st with my opening reception of my immersive art exhibition, The Paranormal Realm Beyond the Lore. Let me tell you, part one of this film captured one of the most profound paranormal experiences I've ever had. And it was met with roaring applause and accolades. And yes, we filmed it in true punk rock fashion to bring you even more content. But Huns, the revolution is just getting started, and we need you to bring part 2 to life. We have so much more content from part 1 that we want to include, plus we're actively filming for part 2. So we're pushing paranormal storytelling to the edge in true aspirational punk rock fashion. Your support fuels every haunting moment of this journey. From ghost hunting gear to fair crew pay, every dollar you contribute keeps things spooky and queer just the way it should be. Join the Haunted Revolution. You can find the link to our GoFundMe in the episode description and help us raise the dead and the funds. So, like, what are you getting into, like, the paranormal investigating? What is your favorite style? Because you are very ethical with it, I will say. Like, I'm very much antagonizing spirits, being douchebags to it. You definitely come at them with respect, all that stuff. I've actually investigated with you, like, very short time. So, like, you still do the Estes method. So, like, what is your style? Like, what got you into, like, developing that style?
I think it was the experience that I had at the Axe House that changed a lot for me, because leading up to that, we were just doing this for fun. There's a difference between being a ghost hunter and a paranormal investigator. And one only
I would
tries
say
to...
ghost hunting is more for like the douchebaggy straight guys.
Well, not even that. Just like, you just want to get evidence of the paranormal, right? You want to get the devices going off. You want to capture EVPs or get something on camera. And that's your only goal. If you're doing that, I mean, that's fine. I don't have anything against people that do that, but my goal is to try to validate the claims of whatever the property owners are saying, or validate claims of stories that are posted time and time again online, and just to try to help these people if they need help. Because again, going back to Forest Haven, which at some point maybe we can tie it into this episode, but there was an experience I had there that really changed how I approach them and how I talk to them.
Well, no, what was it? Because you said that moment like completely shifted everything?
It shifted how, as far as like wanting to help them and get them to a better place, and realizing that I have a bigger purpose in this than just collecting evidence. The Axe House changed as far as like how I approach them and treat them with respect, because prior to that, I was more or less just a ghost hunter and I was just trying to get evidence. And there would be moments where we would drive, the Axe House is a 24-hour drive by car.
Yeah.
And when we got there, I'm like, we're getting evidence. I did not drive all this way to have a sleepy night. So I was provoking and antagonizing. And
Were you being like Zach Bagans?
not that level. I wasn't being that much, but like I was definitely provoking and trying to get a rise out of them because we had driven so far. This was also my first year as an investigator. So like brand new. I had no idea what I was doing. That place scared the ever-living shit out of me to the point to where after that, I don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I refuse to.
Well, that's a dark
care.
place.
Yeah.
It was on, I remember first coming across of it. It was Scariest Places on Earth on ABC Family with that, like, I don't know, Linda Blair from The Exorcist narrates it or something. And I remember there was some old woman and they had issues where they found that some of the, like, that old woman was an actor, which, I mean, you could clearly tell. But I remember watching it and I was like, there's something just dark. I was like, I don't think the family's there, but I was like, there's something absolutely dark there.
No, it's pure evil there, in my opinion. And if you go in there and you're in tune and you're more open to receiving, I guess, spiritual messages or just being able to sense the presence of spirit around you, you'll feel it immediately. And everybody's experience with that place is different, but it's weird because the place itself will almost tailor the experience that you have based on how you go in there and the energy that you have and what you're looking for. Because there's teams that have gone in there and have said it's the most pleasant experience that they've had. They talk to the kids all night.
Oh, God.
And then there's people that have gone in there and have literally stabbed themselves with knives and have been lifted to airlifted to hospitals. I don't know if you heard about that. Did you know about that?
I've read stuff. So
it took that guy 8 years to come out with that story.
Yeah.
Like he waited almost a decade later.
Yeah.
When I think Kindred Spirits revisited the house and interviewed him. He's like, I haven't told anybody about this for 8 years.
Yeah.
So you get what you give with this stuff.
Because Adam and Amy, like, and Chip, like, I'm like, I wrote a whole article about them because I'm like, they're definitely probably the closest on paranormal reality TV to my style of paranormal investigating.
Yeah.
But I remember that and being like, oh, God. And even when they went there, I was picking up on the darkness because I feel like I've watched so much reality television, so much television that I can really pick up psychically on what they're dealing with. And it's like, I don't think I would ever step foot in that house.
We're going back in March.
Oh, you are?
Oh, I just spoiled it. I wasn't supposed to tell anybody. Well, yeah, that's one of the places we're going in March for our road trip. It's been 4 years. I haven't been there in 4 years.
How are you mentally preparing for it?
I'm not at all.
Are you like nervous or scared about it?
Hell yeah. Are you kidding? That's the only place that scares me.
Yeah.
I will go anywhere. I will do anything. I'll do solos. I will investigate places by myself. I've been to Forest Haven alone at night with nothing but a flashlight. And the Axe House, I'm scared to go back.
Yeah.
I really am. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what it knows about me, if it's going to remember me.
It probably will. I find the spirit world do not forget things.
No, and because that place had such a long-term effect on me after I left, I think, I'm going to be more careful for sure.
Yeah,
I'm not going to antagonize it.
Yeah. Did you antagonize it at all? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the first time I went, because again, we drove 20 plus hours to be there. And the last 3 or 4 hours leading up to it, I'm like, listen, man, I was talking to my friend. I'm like, listen, man, if we don't get anything tonight, we have to push them to give us evidence. We drove 20 hours to be here.
Yes.
We spent hundreds of dollars to get out here.
Yeah.
If we have a quiet night, I'm going to be pissed.
Yeah.
So we did. We provoked and called him a coward and like, how, I can't believe you could murder a whole family like that in their sleep. Like, why don't you come after me? I'm right here. I'm wide awake, like pushing him and pushing him and pushing him. And then for like 6 months after that, I was having horrible nightmares every night. These crazy like mental images of shit that I apparently like I would never do it, but it was mental images of me doing things that I would never in a million years picture myself doing. And it got to a point to where I started praying. I started asking God to help me. And I'm not a religious person at all, but I was like, God, please get whatever the fuck is in here away from me. I can't do this anymore. And eventually after 6 months, it went away. So it
got bored.
Yeah, after that, I was like, if I go back here, I'm not provoking even a little bit. Nothing but respect.
It's interesting that I almost think that it will mimic the kids.
Oh, yeah.
Like, because I don't think the kids are there. I don't think that the murdered people are there at all. I think they just were like crossed over.
Well, what other way can you get somebody to drop their guard and trust you?
With a kid. That's why when
like
it comes, if it comes to kid spirits, my guard goes right up and people always question that. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, like I just had to deal with that with something in my family with these 2 little girl spirits. And I was like, no, put your guard up. Don't Don't invite that.
No.
And it's like, I'm not doing, no.
They like to, the darker ones, I don't want to say demonic because not everything is demonic, but lower vibrations, lower
And also, a
energies.
demon is specifically in the Catholic Christian faith.
Right.
So it's like there's other versions of it in other religions, and it looks like different things.
Yeah, I usually just like to refer to them as lower beings.
Yeah.
You know, it's not always demonic, but a lot of the lower beings tend to imitate vulnerable situations. You know, I'm a lost child looking for my parent or whatever. Of course you're going to drop your guard and want to help them, and then when you drop your guard, that's when they have that opportunity to get in and latch on, and before you know it, they're wreaking absolute chaos on your life for months on end.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm nervous. I really am. I'm looking forward to going back, but at the same time I'm not, because I don't want to have the experience I had 4 years ago.
Yeah.
That was very painful and very difficult to get through. But it also prepared me for everything else that led up
But
afterwards.
look how much you've grown as a paranormal investigator, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, that's the other thing, is it's like some of these experiences, it's like you've grown from them.
Yeah, there's no topping it.
Yeah.
After the Axe House, I haven't been that scared since. So we're talking years, probably 100 investigations since then. Nothing has come close to it.
Has there been an investigation that has like come close to it? Because I know you just said that vampire museum that you said there was some stuff there that kind of freaked you out.
It was very reminiscent to the evidence that we were collecting in the Axe House. Yeah, a lot of the same things. It knew things about us, and we had never been there before. It knew personal things about us,
which I find that so fascinating. Where it's like I almost feel like they communicate with each other. The like darker entities.
Yeah, either that or it was an attachment that was with one of us and followed us there and was giving. Did you hear that?
Yeah, was that it?
No. It sounded like somebody yelled in the room.
There is like, I saw like, I'm pretty sure I saw something like peek in.
I'm trying to ignore it because I keep hearing it every so often.
It's very like, I can tell that like something is like, boom, like here we are.
I'm going to trip out if you go back and listen and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And I'm just hearing shit.
I'm at 32:19 right now. Note that and post edit.
Yeah, it was around 32 minutes.
Yeah.
Something, I just keep hearing stuff every so often.
No, because I was looking, because the light goes off because on a timer, but I saw something like peek in like that. And I was like, what the fuck is this?
Do you mind if I go grab my water real quick?
Go grab your water,
Just a second.
No, this is going really good. Like, that's nuts though. Yeah. Because I'm like,
I swear I keep hearing stuff out here. It's so awful. I'm hearing something. I don't know what I'm hearing, but I'm hearing something.
I don't know. This is a good episode. Dude, I can't believe you're going back to the Conjure. I mean, to the Axe House.
I know.
See, I don't.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd be going back anytime soon, but when your friend's like, hey, we'll let you go in there for free. Do you want to go?
You're like,
you don't say no to a free trip to the Axe House.
That's very true.
Minus the gas and hotel.
Yeah. But where is it at? You said it's in Iowa?
Waliska, Iowa, or Waliska, Iowa. So it's 24 hours by car from Maryland and like a 5 hour
do you fly
flight.
A lot or?
No. I like the road trips. I feel like that's half the experience of being a content creator and a paranormal investigator is going on road trips and getting to explore the country. And I mean, that's a huge part of why I still do it.
That's what my mom and stepdad do. Like, he used to be a long haul truck driver, so like they drive everywhere. I'm like, with me, I'm like, anything longer than 4 hours, give me a damn plane.
Yeah, I would like to fly. I wish I could carry more on with me because all my equipment and stuff. There's like 4 bags. Huge bags.
They get weird about paranormal equipment.
I know.
It's
and
like
I don't want to risk it.
Yeah.
Get all the way to the airport, pay a bunch of money for a ticket. They're like, you can't take that with you. And I'm like, well, I'm not going then.
Yeah.
So I just drive everywhere.
Yeah.
Where did we leave off?
We left off talking about the Axe Murder House, but I want to segue because you were telling me an experience. You actually sent me the video and I watched it at the Madison Seminary.
Yeah.
That to me is so fucking wild, where it just proves we're like, because I keep having experiences where I feel like, I don't know if it's my ancestor spirits or it's the intelligent spirits of these places, but you had something come through that I've experienced before. So, and that building just like, it was opening up my reality television brain with that dude that you were interviewing.
Adam?
Yeah, because I was like, oh man, I can think a comedy set about this.
He's meant for the cameraman. He's so good at telling stories.
I was dying because I was like, oh my God. I was like...
Yeah. So Madison, I'd never been there up until that point. That was the first time I'd ever gone there. It's in Madison, Ohio. It's like a 6-8 hour car drive from where we are. And we pull up to the building. You have to go around back to get in. And when you first walk in, it's like this little lobby area where they check you in, and there's a kitchen and all this stuff. And then there's a door through that room that opens up into the rest of the building.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as we walked in, within the first 5 minutes, I got 2 bags on my shoulder. I haven't even brought anything in yet. Nobody has said my name. Nobody has called me. Nothing like that. And behind that door that leads out into the rest of the building, I hear my name whispered. I hear Michael.
Yep.
Like clear as a bell. And I turn and I look at my friend. I'm like, did you say something? He's like, no, I didn't say anything.
Well, how do you feel about when your name, because your name came through in the Essie's message we did a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
And like my name, I'm pretty sure came through, but I feel like my name, I get my name a lot.
Yeah, I do too.
So I always find that fascinating.
When I heard that, I thought that somebody was messing with me.
Yeah.
And I opened the door, nobody was there. Another 10 or 15 minutes goes by. The guy comes in, the owner, and we start doing the tour. The other 2 guys that I was with, they go off and film him doing the tour, and I go shoot B-roll. And I'm walking all throughout this building. It's this massive building. I mean, there's 3 or 4 floors. There's like wings that stretch off. I mean, it's massive. It would take you at least an hour to explore the whole thing. I get down to the very end of the hallway where we first started. That was like my last stop. And down this hallway in this room, there's supposedly a baby was buried in the floor there, like 100, 200 years ago. When I walk down there, there's a drafting table off to the right in that hallway. And I just glanced over at it while I was passing it, and my heart sank because in the top left corner of that drafting board, in chalk, my name was written on it and my birthday.
See, that's where I'm like...
And I had never been there.
Yeah.
And nobody, I don't want to say nobody knows my birthday. It's a very easy birthday to remember. It's 2/22.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know anybody that would go to Madison and be like, let me write Mike's name on this and put his
let's
birthday.
fuck with him before
yeah,
I
like
got,
nobody
like...
would, who in a million years would think to do something like that? Nobody. And I saw that and I pulled Adam to the side when they finished the tour and I'm like, what is this? And he's like, this drafting table has been down here for years and nobody has written on it. I don't know where that came from. I don't know why that's here. And I'm like, okay, well, that's my name and that's my birthday. And I heard my name the first 5 or 10 minutes that I was in here. So what's going on? And somebody had brought up the theory to me that like it could have been somebody that I knew in a past life that died there and was trying to reach out to me who hasn't, if people believe in reincarnation, they hadn't reincarnated yet and they were trying to get my attention, which I thought was an interesting theory, but it doesn't explain why my name and my birthday was written on chalk in a building I had never been to before.
That's so nuts to me. Like,
I'd never been there. So I don't know. It was a very strange, surreal experience. The whole investigation was very strange. It was the one and only time I'd ever seen my investigative partner, David, go into almost like a silent trance the entire night. Normally he's very talkative and like, he's engaged with the investigation.
Yeah.
We would go and take breaks in the break room for 10 or 15 minutes, and he would just sit and stare at this one doll without blinking.
There was a lot of dolls in
for
that
like
place.
15 minutes. He would just sit and just stare off at it. And I'm like, hey, David, are you okay? And he's like, he would snap out of it and shake his head and look at me and go, yeah, I'm fine. And then go right back to being in this trance about this doll. And I even pulled the other guy to the side, and I was like, hey, do me a favor. Just keep an eye on him tonight for me, because this is very unusual for him. He's never like this. I've never seen him like this. And it was, everybody was being tested that night. A lot of personal things.
See, that I hate when the personal stuff comes through.
Yeah, because nobody could verify anything. Yeah. Because something would happen to me and the other 2 guys wouldn't see it, or something would happen to, David and we wouldn't see it, or Matt and we wouldn't see it. We weren't having a collective experience to verify anything for like most of the night. Yeah. So it was a huge mind fuck there. They were constantly messing with us.
Would you go back to that place?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I might go to that place.
Madison is cool.
They're definitely, I could tell there was a very oppressive male energy in a lot of the upstairs part. Like I was picking up on, and I think the dude was talking about it because he had some experiences, but I was like, I don't know. See, when it comes to ghosts, I like the happy, fun ghosts. Like that's why I love Have Your Grace, because they're all party people. They want to have a good time. They have a sense of humor. When it comes to like dark stuff, I'm like,
Yeah. And it's funny that you say that too, because Madison Seminary had a doctor that was known for being incredibly abusive.
Really?
And, like borderline torturing the patients.
Oh, of course.
So yeah, the oppressing male spirit or energy that you were picking up on is definitely there. He's an asshole. There was a lot that I had to cut out of that Estes method, because he was like, using slurs and
Oh,
calling
God.
people derogatory names and stuff.
I've been caught a fag many times on a spirit box
he,
before.
he was definitely not holding back, and I was like, I can't put that on there.
Yep.
I have to cut this
also
part
YouTube
out.
will demonetize it in a heartbeat, and then it's like,
Well, not only that too, but like people, I don't know, people in the field will think that like we're bullshitting or like just making stuff up, and it's like, why would you say that? Out of all the things you could have said on the spirit box, like I avoid it entirely. Just cut it out. But yeah, if you go there, you might get called a slur or two by the doctor upstairs. So
it would not surprise me. Oh my God.
Fair warning.
Yeah, I can see. I've gotten that a lot. Like, ugh. All right, last location I want to talk about with you, the Eastern Shore Farmhouse, because I'm so fascinated by this fucking place.
Oh man,
I remember I was watching it. I was sitting there as stoned as can be, texting you at like 10:30 at night. Like, what is this place? What is going on with that place? Like, it's so, I don't know. You guys can watch it on the YouTube channel. It's like,
honestly, I don't know. Like, I really don't know.
I couldn't pick up on it psychically. Like, I almost was getting like alien stuff as well, which I thought was interesting. But then I also was getting indigenous stuff. There was like so many layers that you can see. And I was like, this is insane to me.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most complex cases that we've worked on next to
it's in Maryland. And it's in Maryland. That's the craziest shit.
Yep. So the house itself, I found this out about 4 or 5 months ago. I came across an archaeological article that it was describing a dig that they did there back in the late 70s, early 80s. And apparently they have found evidence of indigenous people living on that specific plot of land 13,000 years ago.
Ooh.
And they have, like, I have the whole document from the archaeological dig. I read all through it. It's very in depth. It shows the exact location of that farmhouse, the point that it's on.
Yeah.
I can't give specifics just because the property owner doesn't want people trespassing on it, but it is in Maryland. It is on the Eastern Shore. And other than the information that she has been able to give us as far as names and dates and people who live there, there is no public information on this home because it is just an old farmhouse and it didn't serve any sort of significance throughout human history other than just being the property to an old farming family. So like there's no articles written about it. There's no books. Like all of the information that we have found out about this place has either been through the haunting itself or through the documents that the owner, Lisa, has given us and found over the months and years that we've been investigating it. But I don't know what's there. I know that there's a family there. I know that there is a small child who supposedly fell out of a window on the second floor and died.
Oh God.
And the mother feels very guilty for it. She feels like she's to blame. So they both stay there. But there's also an entire generation of families buried in the field somewhere. And we don't know where.
Oh, and unmarked graves?
Yeah.
Oof.
There were headstones that marked all the graves. And because they're a dairy farm, the cows eventually got out to the field and they trampled all the headstones, which the last time I was there, I was on the coast. I was looking for sea glass. I found a piece of one of the headstones.
Really?
And I set it off to the side. Yeah. So I saved it. I plan on trying to dig for more, but I found one of the headstones.
Next time you go to this place, I want to come.
Dude, absolutely.
I want to come.
It is a magical place. You will fall in love with it immediately.
Well, I love that. I mean, the Eastern Shore, just like I'm telling you, Maryland has the best hauntings ever in the entire world.
And it's so low key because nobody around here wants to talk about the hauntings, which is insane to me because Baltimore is one of the most haunted cities in America. It's so haunted here and nobody wants to embrace it. They don't want to talk about it. Yeah, we have the Baltimore ghost tours, but like
it's like slowly like Havre de Grace, like Havre de Grace is insanely haunted. Born and raised there. I've investigated most of the places there. It's still shocking to me. And also there's like a Christian egotism that happens up there and like a religiousness. So of course, you know,
I didn't even think about that.
I mean, I get called a devil worship at least once a year. It never from some stupid MAGA mom who, you know, I fucked her son in high school, but that's beside the point. But like, it's always that, or they don't want to talk about it. And it's like, it's hard to actually get actual investigations going. Cause a lot of the places, there's a lot of places I investigated that I can't talk about because we did it secretly and I know the owner is going to get pissed at it. But there are places that are open, but it's like every building has so many layers of history. And I know Baltimore's the same exact way because I've been in many investigations in Baltimore.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very haunted. And it's really just a matter of finding people that will embrace that and allow you to
which is stupid because it's the best way to tell history.
Yeah. I completely agree.
It's like you tell the history, you get people engaged. People want to come do investigations if they do it ethically. They can pay for it. It pays for your like historical research. That it's so backward to me. And it's like, pull your fucking religion out of it. Like pull your ego out of it and just like, and let's talk about the paranormal.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to slowly change that. You know, one location at a time, one place and one person at a time. I have noticed that since the channel has grown so exponentially, fortunately, that has been that's been my card to get into a lot of places because they hear, oh, you're a YouTuber, you make YouTube videos. I'm like, hold on, wait a second. Here's my channel. Just go watch one video. Watch the first 5 minutes of one video and you'll see what I'm about. And then within like 2 or 3 days, they email me back and they're like, we'd love to have you come in. So I think, like you said, being able to present history in a very professional, beautiful format, like cinematic format, that is what usually engages people because that's the kind of stuff I like to watch. Yeah. And that's what I want to watch. I'm not ghost hunting to scream and, you know, do cartwheels when the REM pod goes off because, I mean, that's entertaining. It's fun, but that's not what we're trying to do. And I think a lot of the places around here see that stuff online and they automatically assume that everybody's going to do that. So they just, they don't embrace it. They're like, no ghost hunts. You're not investigating. We're not hosting anything.
And also there have been people that have fucked up access to places. Like I want to go to Point Lookout in Maryland, and that place is like a no-go because of douchebags on YouTube.
Yep, I know exactly when they stopped doing it, too. I'm not going to name names. It's not my place to do so.
Well, I'm a shady drag queen.
I know exactly
you could throw shade.
I know exactly who ruined it, why it got ruined, and why we're not allowed to go there anymore.
And fuck you. You can come at me because that pisses me. That has been one of my dream investigation places since I was a little kid.
Yeah, it really is a shame too, because like the same year that they stopped doing it, we were planning on going, and we had contact with somebody who worked there, and they were going to let us in. And then when we followed up, they're like, "Yeah, we actually stopped. We don't let people in here anymore because of X, Y, and Z." And I'm like, "Fuck, man! Like, why do people? Can you just go and investigate and do it respectfully so other people can come in too? Can you not make clout content and then ruin it for everyone else? Because it does. It ruins the experience."
And also the other thing is like, you make your living being a paranormal investigator. So it's like you're also fucking with people's money, which pisses me off too.
Yeah, because Point Lookout has so much history, and it's got the prisoner of war camp right there. That's right on site, and you have the history of the pirates that apparently sailed through there and landed there at one point.
That makes me happy. I want to talk to the pirates so badly.
And unless you go and camp out there, you really can't investigate. And even at night, if you're walking around at night out there, and the rangers or whatever see you, they'll either kick you off or force you to go back to your campsite. You can't even be out there at night. Even if you paid to camp there, you cannot walk around at night.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, they won't.
Well, I mean, I feel like that place is so haunted. You can easily take a spirit box during the day and get stuff.
Oh God, yeah. You could go sit in your tent and probably get stuff there. Yeah. But overall, I mean, our goal is to try and get more of these Maryland places to embrace their haunted history and to allow investigators, respectful investigators, to go in and conduct their investigations and see what evidence we find, and just, I don't know, get Maryland on the paranormal map. Yes. More. Nobody comes here. Nobody talks about it here.
Yes. Like, I used to be on the West Coast, and I always tell people, I'm like, Maryland has the best hauntings ever.
It's so haunted.
And it's insanely haunted, and it never gets talked about. And I'm like, that's why I wanted to focus on Forest Haven, because I'm like, I could easily do Penhurst. I could do Trans-Allegheny. I could do Dixmont, all the Waverly. But I was like, no, let's keep it Maryland. Like, we have that. I'm pretty sure there's other hospitals. I know Shepherd Pratt's haunted. Glendale was the one. That's the one out in what, PG County?
Yeah, it's like 20 minutes from Forest Haven. It's further south. It's like right on the DC line.
Have you've been there, right?
A few times, yeah.
What's that place like?
So that place is actually the total opposite of Forest Haven, except for the basement. Yeah. The basement has some weird shit going on down there. I don't know why. It's very heavy and dark and angry. But if you go upstairs from like the first floor, so basement, then first floor, and then it counts. From the first floor up, everybody's super nice. Like, wow. Our EVPs we were capturing there was like, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for coming to visit me.
Was it a psych hospital though? Or
it was a tuberculosis hospital. Okay. And it was only tuberculosis for the entire time that I operated.
Yeah, because I think sometimes people just treat mentally ill people so piss poor now.
It was never, they never repurposed it for anything. It wasn't like a psych hospital or substance abuse or anything. It was strictly tuberculosis,
like Waverly.
Yeah, and then when tuberculosis finally, when we eventually got a cure, they just closed it down. So I know like thousands of people died there, unfortunately, but they were all just regular, everyday, average people who contracted tuberculosis, and some, you know, made it and some didn't, but super nice. It doesn't feel threatening in any way. Like I used to go there by myself all the time, and never in any point did I feel like I need to get out of here. Yeah. So it's a very different contrast between the two, because you go 20 minutes north of there and you have Forest Haven, and it's just literal hell on earth. Yeah. And then you go 20 minutes south of Forest Haven at Glendale, and it's like, it's chill. They're homies. You know, you could bring them a beer and maybe a little TV or something to watch.
I like ghosts like that.
Yeah, they're chill.
I like ghosts like that.
They're super cool. I haven't been there in a few years, but yeah, definitely if you're from Maryland and you're looking for like a first time haunt experience, Glendale's easy.
Yeah. So are there places in like Harford County you've been to? I have a lot of listeners in Harford County, so I'm like, I've investigated extensively in Harford County.
Is the naval school?
Bainbridge is, I mean, that's Cecil County, but it's literally right across the river.
I was going to say it's like right on the line, isn't it? That's the only place that I could think of.
Yeah, I've been there, but I don't talk about it because it wasn't legal.
But, I mean, that was years ago. I wasn't even.
They have armed guards now.
Yeah.
So
I remember you telling me about that last time. Yeah, because I took a friend up there a few years back, and it was like 2 or 3 months after they had set one of the houses on fire. Somebody did.
That's where I know a lot about it, because like my dad and brother are firemen, and they're constantly getting arson calls up there.
That's so unfortunate.
And it's like you can still see some of the buildings from the road on. I think it's like 222 coming up from Cecil County or up from Port Deposit. Yep. But I mean, they're so you can tell they're like just ruined.
Yeah. Somebody kept, I don't know if it was the same person going out there over and over again, but yeah, somebody has burnt down like half that property right now. That's the only place that I can think of up there.
Well, that triangle has so much weird shit in Cecil County.
Really?
From like Perryville up to about Conowingo Dam, out to about Calora, Rising Sun. There was a plane crash there in like the 50s, Eastern Airline, I think 401. There's like a monument there I've investigated, like, because it's on the site, like, there's so much crazy. There's a lot of Bigfoot activity up there.
I was actually going to ask you, what are your thoughts on gunpowder? Do you think Gunpowder Falls, like not just the one central area, but just the whole
area? I think there is definitely a vortex there. I know I've gotten lost there, and I'm not one to normally get lost. I'm very good directionally and navigationally, and I've gotten lost there, and I think that has something to do with it. I do know people that have seen Bigfoot there too. And there is some cryptid sightings there. So there's something weird there.
Just a sidebar a little bit here. Yeah. I live like 10 minutes from Gunpowder Central. So that's like where the lodge and stuff is. Yeah. And you have the one trail. I can't remember the name of it. It's like 2 or 3 miles long. It goes way up into the hillside. Yeah. I used to go there at night, just because nobody's there.
You're a night owl. You're used. Yeah. I love that.
And I don't know why, but for some reason, I guess I was having an itch to like get scared or just have a paranormal experience. So I went there at like midnight one night with nothing but a flashlight, and I'm walking down my usual trail, because at one point I was going to this park every day. I know that whole trail like the back of my hand. I was just going to walk it once because I've felt weird vibes there before, and I thought, okay, I'm going to come back here at night. I got like a mile into the walk, and this trail, it's a lot of stones, and then there's a bit of a hill that goes up to the side on the right side, and then there's the river off to the left. And up that hill, it's about a 3 to 4 foot incline. You can't see what's up there, but it's mostly a tree line. And it's 12 o'clock at night. It's December. It's freezing cold. There's no bugs. It's dead silent. Like you could hear your heartbeat out there if you stood still enough. And as I'm walking, I start hearing crunches behind me on the tree line. And when I stopped, it stopped. And I had this really high powered flashlight, and I looked and like I shined it up there. There's no animals. And I'm like, okay. So I keep walking 5 or 6 more steps. I hear it again. And I stopped, it stopped. And it kept doing that for like, it did it 3 or 4 times before I got too freaked out. And I was like, okay, the further I walk in here, that's the same distance I have to walk back. Yeah. And I'm getting further and further from my car. I'm unarmed and alone. I'm going to go back to my car. I started power walking back to my car, and the fucking steps next to me were walking the same pace.
That's what's weird.
It scared the shit out of me. I will never go back to those woods alone at night again, because I heard somebody walking next, and I couldn't see anything. I held the light.
Not only that, there is people that have disappeared there that they don't publish. That's something else that I don't think people talk about gunpowder. Yeah. People have disappeared there, just off the face of the earth. They don't know what happened to them.
But the freaky part about that story is when I was walking back, my flashlight, I turned it on the highest setting I could turn it on, and I lit up the whole forest, and I held it on that tree line as I walked, and I could still hear it the leaves crunching
Oh.
right next to me, and there was nothing there.
Yeah.
I'm walking and I'm just hearing shh, shh, shh next to me, and there's nothing, no one there. There's no small and why was it following me?
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to ask you about gunpowder, because I've had some truly terrifying experiences in those woods, and I've never investigated it.
I've known similar experience. People have had similar experiences to what you're telling me about gunpowder, because it's like more closer to Joppatown, like normally like more southern, I think, than where you were at. But a lot of people have a lot of shit up there. And I think it goes back to all the rivers up here are so ancient, and they have like the Susquehanna is like one of the oldest rivers ever. It's so like, because that shit has happened. Like I know someone that had that experience at Susquehanna State Park on the waterfront, and I know people that had like the Bigfoot sightings, and they've had similar experiences like you with Bigfoot, where they thought something was following them and like knocking on the trees and stuff, terrified the shit out of them. And I don't know, most people think of that and they think of Bigfoot and they think of that stuff in like other places, but I'm like, here we go.
It's right in our backyard. It's all around us. And I mean, you got to think too, the Appalachian Mountains kind of run into Maryland a little bit.
They do.
It's not we're not exactly on the mountain, but if you go out west, you get about an hour west of Baltimore.
Yeah.
It starts to turn into the mountains. And we already know the stories about that place. It's
and
the
like
oldest
that
mountains
area
ever.
of Cecil County, like where Port Deposit is, has an Appalachian feel to it.
Yeah.
That's why I love it so much. Like I'm like Mothman is going to be here.
It
I'm
does
like,
feel a little like kind of like like a boony a little bit. You know what I mean?
And there's like little like up the hollow, like what they have there.
the
like
hollers. Yeah. It kind of feels like
it has
one.
that feel to it.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, the people are very similar, I will say.
Yeah.
Like, they call it Cecil Tucky for a reason. But it's like, most people there are just hardworking, blue collar. Like, they're nice, decent people.
Yeah,
but it's
all
like,
old school.
Yeah, but it's, I don't know, it gets that bad name. But it's like,
a lot of farmland and stuff up there.
A lot of weird shit, though.
Yeah.
Like, the VA complex in Perry Point, it's still active. I know several people that work there. That building, I think, is one of the most haunted places in all of Maryland.
No
and it's
kidding.
never talked about, and they do not let people investigate. But the amount of stories I've had from that place is insane. That the minute it gets closed down, I want to jump in there because I'm like, that place is crazy.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't even know anything about that.
Yeah.
Like I said, because everybody here is so under wraps and low key about their haunts. Nobody talks.
Because I'm the one. I'm always fishing people. Like I know how to interview people and how to talk about it on the DL and like. Yeah. And I knew several people that actually got treated there, and then just people that know there. And I'm sort of like, have you had weird experiences? And they're like, what do you mean? And once you start realizing like, oh no, I'm cool. Like I'm not going to judge you as being an alcoholic or crazy or a drug addict. Then they'll start opening up. But that place specifically, I mean, even up to like 2 weeks ago, I had someone tell me a story about that place because everything's connected by tunnels.
Yeah.
And it's been open since like the 40s. Like, and it was a hospital. They have a mental health facility there. And they also have like other government agencies there. Like some people in my family actually have work there. And it's like they've had experiences. So it's a whole bunch of old buildings too. And you got the railroad. I don't know. That's like my dream place to investigate.
Yeah, there's too many places around here that get closed down and they immediately demolish them.
Yeah.
Or fortunately, some get repurposed.
Have you been to that hospital out here, like in like Essex near us? Like, I forget what it's called. It's like an old VA hospital.
Is it the one on the water?
Yeah.
In Dundalk?
Yeah.
You can't.
Because I feel like that one's shut down, but I know that place has stories.
It does, but you can't get on there. There's silent alarms all over the property. As soon as you step foot, you set one off, and the cops are there in 10 minutes. I only know from stories. I haven't had personal experiences with it, but I've flown my drone over it before, and they've had people come out of the buildings that work there and look up at my drone. So like the guy who owns that, I don't even want to get into that story because it's a sad, terrible story about who owns that place and why it is the way that it is, but you can't get in there. Even if you talk to the guy directly. So
he just won't let it happen?
Nope.
Oof.
Nope.
Because you know all the connections. That's the thing I'm like.
I'll tell you off air why that place is closed.
Yeah.
And what happened and why it is the way that it is. But
yeah, because it's probably the lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So this is the end of part 1. We ended up talking for a whole other hour about all the paranormal pop culture, and it was a good chat. So stay tuned for next week for part 2. So if you say subscribed, it'll pop up in your feed automatically.